Hi guys, I'm Iker and I'm gonna analyze the market structure for Coca Cola. So as we see, the market structure is the oligopoly, and there are several characteristics that make Coca Cola belong to the oligopoly. And one of these is the number of suppliers, because there are few of them that have a great market share, as we can see with Pepsi, Dr. Pepper, Fanta, and others like Mountain Dew, but that all of them have a great market share compared to the other little firms, or several firms that have less market share. So another one could be entry barriers, because it is pretty expensive to the startup costs, and because of the economies of scale, like Coca-Cola, Pepsi, these big brands that don't have that difficulty when talking about money or starting up costs, and they have an advantage, a pretty big advantage, and also they have this access to suppliers, key suppliers that, for example, Coca-Cola, you can find Coca-Cola in every place around the world. And for these new brands that want to get into the business, it will be very difficult to get to see the access to suppliers, to new suppliers. Another one could be the differentiated oligopoly. What I mean with this is that, for example, Coca-Cola uses a lot of advertising, and this makes its consumers be loyal to the brand, because with the advertising you can see that Coca-Cola tells us that the product is different, is unique from the other ones. So instead of being an homogeneous oligopoly, we can find that several brands use advertising, as Coca-Cola does, to differentiate its product. And then we can see that in the oligopoly there's some control over price, and this control over price is from Coca-Cola, because it is a price maker due to the advantage that it has. It has about 48% of market share, and this gets to Coca-Cola to make the price that they want. They can decrease or they can increase the price, and because of loyalty and advertising, it's difficult that Coca-Cola loses its customers. So that's another reason. And the last one is that there's interdependence among firms. This means that in the industry, if one brand makes a move, like meaning that they decrease the price or increase the price, the others are going to respond to this with like maybe if they increase the price, they don't want to lose their customers, so they will stay where they are. But if they decrease the price, they will decrease it also, because they will lose customers as well. And continuing, here we see the four-firm concentration ratio. This is from 2015, but it's pretty representative for what I have to say. Like, few firms have a great market share here, with Coke ahead. But nowadays, Coke has even more market share. It has a 48%, as I said before. And now I want to talk about the change in the firm in Coca-Cola. Is the closure of factories in the UK and Australia. The impact on demand was practically inexistent, but in impact on supply, it decreased because of resource prices. They were very, very expensive, and they need to get rid of, for example, the buildings and machinery and the wages of workers. And there is also producers' expectations, because sometimes the producer has to make decisions to decrease costs, so they close these factories in UK and Australia. And then the impact on costs, as I said, in fixed costs, we can see that these buildings and machinery as they closed the factories, this cost decreased, and variable costs, as like 300 jobs were lost by workers, these wages are discounted from the costs, and we're gonna see it now in the graphs. On the first graph, we can observe that the supply curve shifts to the left, decreasing because of what I said, the determinants of supply, resource prices, and producers' expectations. And the equilibrium point moves to this point, but the demand is not affected in this case in the price quantity graph. But on the second graph, we can see that before they made this choice of closing the factories, the marginal cost was greater than the marginal revenue, which led to Coca-Cola make this decision of closing the factories. So after the change, the average total cost decreased and the marginal cost decreased, which made reach this point, this equilibrium point where marginal revenue equals marginal cost, and this is where Coca-Cola could get economic profit, because before they were not being efficient and they didn't have the allocative efficiency, and after closing some factories and getting rid of these costs, they could reach the equilibrium point. So that's it.